So, Mahindra and Mahindra has been on a roll.
What did you see?
The SUV. Thar rocks.
The company has been sitting tight as the leader of the SUV segment in terms of revenue, although it was of course toppled quite a while back from the volume leadership position by Maruti Suzuki. Nevertheless, the company's July sales of utility vehicles soared 15% on year to 41,623 cars. It has been launching one car after the other, adding to its portfolio of 10 SUVs and 4 pickup trucks. Its strategy is that Mahindra makes sure each passenger vehicle model has variants that span various price brackets and customer segments, is preceded by a marketing blitzkrieg and succeeded by robust sales. The company is heavily invested in the EV story too. It plans an investment of 12,000 crore rupees in electric vehicles, which is a third of its overall automotive business investment planned in the next 3 years. In the same period, it is planning to launch at least 5 to 6 EV models. That will actually be the biggest chunk of its planned 23 new vehicle launches until 2030. It's also moving slightly away from its usual lone wolf strategy and working on synergies. A supply agreement with Volkswagen, for instance, was signed in February, and a planned EV JV with Volkswagen unit Škoda is also being planned. And that is a story my colleague Shally Seth broke on Friday. Shally?
Mahindra and Škoda Auto Volkswagen India, which is the wholly owned subsidiary of the Volkswagen Group, they have been in discussion for a potential collaboration for some time now. And we've learned that the discussions have made some progress in the recent past. And the two companies seem to have agreed for a 50-50 joint venture. If they do go ahead and seal the deal, it's likely to be a win-win for both.
But then, Shally, every car maker and its uncle is launching SUVs, which now constitutes 60% of the passenger car market in India. Also, EVs. There is a slowdown globally, which is reflected in Indian companies curtailing their plans as well. Do you think Mahindra is doing too much too fast?
No, I don't think it will be fair to say that they are doing too much too fast. They have learned their lessons the hard way in the past, and they are a lot more disciplined as a company, whether it is product strategy, whether it is customer orientation, or whether it is the technology that they want to pursue, or it's to do with the capital allocation strategy. They are very focused as a company, and this strategy seems to be already paying off for them in a very competitive SUV market. So yeah, Anirban, you're absolutely bang on as far as your assessment of the EV market is concerned. Things have slowed down a bit, and the adoption has been a little slower than what companies have expected. But the market is still very small, and the mainstream players have still to get into the segment. So that is what gives Mahindra the confidence that if they do come out with products that are well positioned and well priced, they'll be able to make a difference and grow this market. One thing that we would like to understand from the company is how will they ensure that the electric vehicles that they launch in India in the first quarter of 2025 has an immediate acceptance. Also, how is the company going to ensure that the models are going to be priced competitively? At the same time, they retain the premium brand imagery, which the company has carefully crafted over the last 3 to 4 years with its internal combustion engine models.
Right. So in this episode, we speak to a man who is behind all we talked about and has answers to all our questions. Rajesh Jejurikar, CEO, Automotive and Farm for Mahindra and Mahindra, joins us in this very special corner of his conversation. It's Saturday. We are your hosts, Anirban, Chowdhury and Shally Seth. This is the Morning Brief. Hi, Rajesh. Very warm welcome to this corner of his conversation. So glad to have you with us.
Hi, Anirban. Good to be with you today.
Good morning, Rajesh. We all know about Mahindra's trajectory in the world of SUVs, but I would say 2020 has been a turning point for the company when it launched the new Thar. It marked the beginning of a new phase. The last such new chapter one saw was in 2002 when the Scorpio was launched. What really happened in the run up to 2020, which made you go back to the drawing board to come up with the models that really connected to your DNA?
Yeah, Shally. So firstly, the Thar product conceptualization and development had happened, way before 2020 and, was available for us in 2020 as a key part of how do we go and redefine our future. I think what really helped was the insight that I spoke about a little earlier, which is there will be a large number of customers who look for vehicles which have adventure-ready capability, unmissable presence on the road, and a good level of sophistication. And it just fitted so well because our brand DNA was also about, adventure, tough, rugged format, so on and so forth. And hence, really, the visions and the promise of the brand started becoming more around yes, we have the confidence that we can actually build an entire brand portfolio on this insight and this promise. And the success of the Thar was also about the vision and the confidence that we had that this was possible. And I think that is what spurred us on to do much more then. Honestly, it wasn't that the product got conceptualized in 2020. We had a product. I think we priced it very well. So we made it very accessible. It was a product with a very good level of refinement, very quiet. And, we ended up attracting very premier part of the target audience here.
So Rajesh, Mahindra has had a fairly good run in the SUV market. But of course, that was also at a time when there were not many models. And its strategy has worked really well. But now we see that every other car launch by every other automotive company is an SUV. Also, we've come to a stage where there is a slowdown in demand in certain segments of the auto market. There is a glut in many segments and they're not selling as well as others. How does Mahindra keep its strategy fluid to insulate itself from such ups and downs?
So let me just start with, the whole SUV evolution. SUVs today are 60-odd% of the total passenger vehicle market. Now, that's a very large chunk. This, a few years back was as low as, in the early 20s, mid 20s kind of range. So we've seen like a 20-25% SUV penetration to passenger vehicles go up to as high as 60% right now. This has been enabled around two things. One is the desire of customers to have vehicles which make them stand out. The higher sitting postures of SUVs, the better ground clearance, in some cases more space or more number of seats are all very important in an Indian context. So this has helped the SUV category grow. We believe we've done very well in the context of the fact that this is a very big market now. It's a very competitive market. Over the last many quarters, we've been number one by revenue market share. And in spite of our very high price points, number two by way of volume market share. So this really has been on the back of 4 or 5 products which have done extremely well. The last part of your question was around, the short-term situation. I do believe that, any industry is going to see some kind of cyclicity, which was expected in the passenger vehicle market. We stay with our projection of mid to high teen growth for our SUVs this year, mainly because we believe we have an exciting portfolio. We launched the 3XO in Q1, which has got a very good response. We've just launched the Thar Rocks, bookings for which will open in October. But the initial excitement and hype, if I may loosely use that word, gives us confidence that we should see a very strong performance on the Thar Rocks as well.
So a follow-up to that, how are you increasing or tweaking your capacity to cater to the changes in the demand situation? For example, I believe that there are a lot of queries already for Thar Rocks.
Yeah, so as a total SUV portfolio, we've increased our capacity over the last 4 years from about 18,000 to now 49,000. That goes up somewhat with the Thar Rocks coming into mid-50s per month. For the Thar portfolio, we have a capacity of 9,500 per month, which has some amount of fungibility between what we do with the Thar 3-door and the Thar Rocks.
Understood. Shally?
So Rajesh, XUV 500, you called it as a global SUV. As you had aspirations to go to the markets beyond South Asia, how do we see those plans panning out now that you have a very good portfolio of UVs? which are very competitively priced and they're pretty feature rich.
So way we're thinking about our global growth strategies in a very calibrated and phased manner, We've already had presence in some parts of the world over the last many years, actually. South Africa is one market where we have an on-ground presence. Australia, New Zealand, we have a strong presence in North Africa. We also have a very strong presence in markets like Chile. So in the first phase, what we're doing right now is taking the newer set of products to markets like South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. We will be launching the new 3XO in South Africa in the third quarter of this financial year, which is October, December. And we're beginning to see very good feedback and response. In the second phase, we will start building on the strength we have in pickups with a new product we are developing, which is we call the global lifestyle pickup. And that will help strengthen in existing markets, but also will help us look at newer markets. And the third phase, of course, is going to be around the new electric portfolio. And to begin with, again, we'll look at taking a few right-hand drive markets for that, but then also creating left-hand drive versions depending on the success that we see. So in a way, we are looking at a calibrated market growth strategy. Take few markets, build brand, build channel, build customer affinity, and then move on rather than trying to do too much at the same time.
Rajesh, it's been 4 years since you took to the corner office. What are the things that keep you awake?
What keeps me awake is OTT. That's
What are you watching these days?
I do a mix between some new stuff and repeating old movies, because when you're repeating old movies, then you can switch it off whenever you want. It's not addictive. I just saw this The Angry Young Men, which I actually binge watched all 3 episodes in one evening, which was really, really good. There are many things even out of cinema and various other perspectives on which we learn new things. Angry Young Men was one such show more recently, which has so much insights on how you think about customers and, storytelling in a way, because, the master script writers are actually the people who get the pulse of the customer the best.
You spoke about storytelling, and Mahindra is great at, creating stories around its products before their launch, post which, of course, it becomes a story of organic demand and sales. How does the content you consume that you just spoke about, how does it seep into your branding, marketing, and I should say storytelling strategy?
Yeah, actually, this idea, Anirban, started in a way what Bollywood does, right? You call it the first show weekend. And if you are able to sell out in your first show weekend, then that's a measure of, how much hype you've been able to create. So really what we've been trying to do with our launches is to say that let's put our marketing money before the product is out. And really after we launch the product should actually, like you said, need really no marketing budget, because I don't mean literally no, but minimal marketing budget. So we are able to, I think, get the right target audience on social media and key influencers to really build on this storytelling. And the storytelling is different for every segment. So what we did in the case of the Thar Rocks, there was huge anticipation of something like this coming out in a format in which it could be mainstream and, for the family to be able to use. Now, as we picked up this insight, and our agency and marketing team came out with this really cool idea of using a song from an old Bollywood movie, which of course was Amitabh Bachchan Sharabi, which is the Intahan and Intazar. And breaking this storytelling into 2 parts, which is wait till the product comes out, and like in the Bollywood song, the tempo changes once the product comes out. And as we named the product Rocks, we were evaluating, saying, how do we get the rock star connection? And hence we actually created a rock version of the song. So the song that plays out is an adapted rock version of an old Bollywood song. So it connects again with the brand name Rocks and leads into a reveal, which is in a rock concert, for which we had Farhan Akhtar do a live performance, who is the ultimate, rock star symbol in India because of multiple things he's done, but especially the movie Rock On. So in a way, we connected anticipation. We connected that to a Bollywood song. We connected that to the brand name Rocks and revealed it through a rock concert. using a rock star.
If we look at Mahindra's UV journey, right from 2002, when you launched the Scorpio, it has always managed to take the market by surprise when it comes to pricing. What has really enabled you to price the models the way you have, despite the overall inflationary trend?
Yeah, we believe that building a strong brand, especially in markets like India, but I think that's applicable in many parts of the world. Indian customers, even the very well-off customers, have a very ingrained desire to make sure that they get good value. And good value is a function of, getting a lot, but at the end of it, walking out feeling you got a really good deal. So really, in a way, we define our business model as saying our product should give features and benefits of 2 segment higher products. And that's what excites the market. Now, when we think that way, then we are starting from the drawing board with a view that, yes, we need to design to cost. We need to build scale, because price will help us build volume scale. And then if we build scale, then we are able to get the right costs. So it's really a series of multiple things. But the starting point is really that if you're going to launch something, then it has to be a wow for the customer, not just because it's low priced, but it really gives so much at a wonderful price.
Rajesh, coming to the electric vehicle segment, Mahindra is really invested in the EV story, as we all know. But this is despite a slowdown in global markets, which is also now reflecting in Indian companies. How do you see this?
Yeah, so 2 things. Firstly, Anirban, the India story is not at the moment comparable to the global story. India's passenger vehicle EV penetration is less than 2%. We've seen some flattening of EVs around the world, but that's at much, much higher levels of penetration. China's EV penetration in the first half of this year was, I think, as high as 50%. In around that range, if you look at different models. Most other parts of the world have got to 15 to 18% penetration. Countries like Norway have got to 80% penetration. So there is a very significant penetration that global markets have reached. And in that context, we talk about, can they move on further from here or not? In India, we're right now at 2%. So the EV story in India has not even started. And we believe it's not started yet because really India has not yet seen the power of really good products coming in. And that's what we've invested in. And that's what we're going to start seeing from 2025.
Also, Mahindra has traditionally not been very keen on hybrids. But in the last earnings call, it was said that you might look at it. So what is your view of hybrid technology and also the Indian consumers' acceptance of it?
Yeah, so Anirban, you've already picked up what we last said in the earnings call, and we reinforced that same point of view, which is we believe that the right destination for the country is electric, because that is going to give the benefit of climate, that's going to give the benefit of helping the country with its fuel bill. And of course, we think it's going to be very strong for customers. And we think that, as OEMs and as the government, we should all be invested in enabling a very strong ecosystem to support this EV penetration. We're already seeing very good progress in last mile mobility. In the last quarter, in the last mile mobility with the electric 3-wheeler space, the EV penetration went to as high as 20%. And that's where you see the clear value of that. And we are sure that with right products, the EV destination, as we already spoke about, is something the country will get to. If in the meanwhile there are segments or customers, and we feel that we need to bring out a hybrid, we will at an appropriate time.
Can we also look at it another way in saying that the inclusion of hybrids in your plans is also a way to meeting the upcoming CAFE norms in 2027?
I don't think we would need hybrids to meet the CAFE norms in 2027. Firstly, the CAFE norms itself are not finalized, so we've got to wait and see what that comes out to be. But secondly, if we have a successful EV portfolio, then we will very comfortably meet even if the proposed norms, are finalized. And we believe that the way the norms are right now being drafted are going to need a lot of OEMs to need an EV focus.
I understand that you also have a very aggressive and ambitious plan as far as the farm and tractor business is concerned. You have outlined a capex of rupees 5,000 crore over the next 3 years. But you can just begin by touching upon the global strategy for your farm and tractor business, and also a little bit about how you plan to fortify your position in the domestic market.
Yeah, so we already have a very strong presence in some of the key tractor markets around the world. In North America, we are the number 3 brand in the less than 100 horsepower segment. We've started doing well in Brazil over the last 3-4 years. So the 3-4 important tractor markets around the world: North America, Brazil, Turkey, and of course there's China, where we don't have a presence. In Brazil, we've made very good progress. We now in our segment have a share of more than 5%. In Turkey, we had acquired a local brand, which is a very strong brand called Arkun Tractors, and that has a market share of, again, 6-7% with the number 3, number 4 players. So in some of the key markets, we already have built a very strong presence. The launch and development of the OJA platform, which actually are 4 platforms, we've just launched that in North America, and we believe that will start helping us take on that market more aggressively. But the OJA platform also gives us an opportunity to go into 2 other segments or 2 other new geographies where we have no presence at the moment. One of which is this ASEAN region. So we are looking at taking Thailand as a base and building on the whole, ASEAN market opportunity using OJA. The other area where we don't have any presence right now for exports is Europe. And again, with OJA, we look at, again, in a very phased and calibrated manner through 2025, look at building the OJA product strategy into Europe.
Now, on synergies, over the last couple of years, Mahindra has really streamlined its focus and concentrated on its core strength, right? And it sort of pared down its partnerships and purchases like SsangYong. And that strategy, again, has worked very well. Now, there was, for example, a supply agreement with Volkswagen in February. We hear about other synergies as well. How do we see that evolving?
Yeah, so right now, Anirban, as you rightly said, what we have with Volkswagen is a supply agreement for some components of the MEB platform, which we will use in our born electric vehicles. At that time, we had said that there could be multiple other conversations that we could have. I just mentioned cell localization as one, and there could be a few others. And these are ongoing conversations that, we would have, and we are not at any stage of finiteness on it. We see how that goes. But right now, the focus is on, how do we get the best material benefit out of the agreement that we already have with them.
So are you open to other local and global synergies as well?
We are open to other synergies. And in today's world, we all have to look at ways to synergize so that, there's so much volatility, customer change. It's I think, once in a century event that's happening right now where there is, complete overhauling of how, the industry is going to evolve. So every OEM today is looking at synergy in a way that we are able to leverage partnerships much better. So certainly we are open to synergy. Certainly we are open to collaboration. And we would look at opportunities to synergize where it makes sense.
Okay, last question on my side, and this is on Škoda. It's been looking for an Indian partner. There's been a lot of buzz about Mahindra and also other companies such as, JSW, which is betting big on the EV segment. Any comment on that?
I think the answer would remain the same as the previous question.
Which is
that we are open. We have said that we are, we will explore opportunities for collaboration. And that's an ongoing conversation with no finite output at this stage.
Finally, Rajesh, what are the things you think still needs your attention as far as the farm equipment and the auto business is concerned? Some of those things to do in your list which you still think needs your time, attention, and the management bandwidth?
We live in a very competitive world, and it's not just competitive, it is volatile. So really our role as leaders is to anticipate change. Customers are changing, business environment is changing. And hence, what are the levers that we need to keep enhancing? So today, our brand is at a certain level of aspiration, but so are customer expectations moving up. I'm just going to give you an anecdote I heard from a dealer I was talking to a couple of days back. after we launched the 3XO, and we were talking about what profile of customers we are attracting in. And, he was saying that this is such a different profile of customers that you won't believe. We have so many customers now coming in on two-wheelers to look at a 3XO that I have to create a motorcycle stand outside my dealership. We've never done that. Right. So, there are so many interesting anecdotes that we pick up and, help us to adapt to the fact that, 3XO is a very, very different product. We have almost 25-30% first-time buyers who've never bought a car before. 25-30% of the segment of the product that we sell to there is for people who move from a hatch to a 3XO. So again, a very different profile of customers than what we may be having, say, on the Thar or on the XUV 700 or the Scorpio. And so, these are all things that we have to be continuously alive to and adapt and adjust our strategy in a way that we are able to, pick up on new trends and changes that we may be seeing.
So that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed this corner office conversation. It was produced by Vinay Joshi and myself, sound designed by Rajesh Naik and Indranil Bhattacharjee. The Morning Brief drops every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. Do also check out our latest show, 7 at 7. That's 7 your daily quick financial news roundup from India and the world every weekday at 7 a.m. Both TMB and 7 at 7 are available wherever you get your podcasts. Keep listening. Have a good weekend. The external clip used in this episode belongs to its owner. Credits are mentioned in the description.